After a few days of playing Diablo Season 4, I can finally say that Blizzard has done it and they turned this around big time. Now, as you remember, I made a video before this, if not, that's fine too, where I talked about that basically Blizzard has maneuvered themselves in a difficult position. They have maneuvered themselves into this position that every 3 months we need a season, there has to be new content in it, and then we're just building on the base game till the expansion is coming out, and with the expansion we are making big gameplay decisions. The thing is, that was not really doable, right? We reached a point with Diablo 4 where the game was cracking at its seams, and we had too many issues with this game, and we have still issues. We have still problems. But one of the most important issues which needed to be fixed was itemization. Itemization was just broken. It reminded me very much of the itemization of Diablo 3 before Reaper of Souls, and that is not a good reminder for anyone who can still remember it. Yes, it wasn't as bad because, well, we don't have an auction house here, but it became pretty close. Like the typical, oh look, I found a staff for my Sorg. Amazing, and it has strength on it? Why would I? What? Like, there were so many moments where you were just looking at your items and you were like, what is this? Same goes with the amount of yellow items over the actual legendaries. Now they have basically just switched that around, and you have so many legendaries and uniques that you still have to stare at your inventory a little bit too long. But it's an improvement. It's an improvement to what was previously possible. But I wouldn't have believed that one of the smaller changes coming with Loot Reborn was actually one of the biggest changes for me. So if you haven't played this game for a while, you probably still remember that when you found a legendary and you wanted to preserve its special ability, you had to destroy the legendary on the dude who was doing like all the enchantments. And then you were getting an item in your inventory, which you then can use up to change or add the legendary affix on the item you wanted. And then the item you had in your inventory got destroyed, right? Or used up, not destroyed, but used up. And you had to do this over and over. And it was so freaking annoying, but more importantly, you had just hundreds and hundreds of those aspect charts in your inventory and in your chests that you sometimes just didn't know anymore what to do with it. So they've completely changed this now. You were just going to a blacksmith, you destroy your items, and when you destroy it, the ability is being transformed into your Codex, and there resides forever. You're not using it up anymore. You're not like losing it or whatever. It is just there. But what you still want to do is you want to upgrade it. So what you can do now is if you're finding the same legendary affix over and over and over again, you can destroy it and it will upgrade the percentage number you will have on the affix. You know how you sometimes have like between 12 and 30% more damage. Right, and now by destroying the same legendary affix over and over, you will have at some point just 30% more damage, which is great. I think this is one of the best changes so far. It really made me go back and actually care for what legendaries exactly I'm running around with and making sure that I upgrade my affixes and all that. Like it feels so much better, man. It's a shame that they didn't have this from the beginning. I also love the new upgrades you can do to the weapons, right, to make them even more stronger. But that also means changing your equipment easily around takes a little bit longer now. That you can say, okay, I'm also mending the item with more fire damage per second, or more damage in general, or more energy regeneration or something like that. Like there are tons of upgrades you can now put on the weapons on top of all the stats which are already available. As I said, the stats are now making sense for your character. Yes, there's still some weird affixes like thorns for your sork, and you go, ha. I don't think that's really what I need. But that's such a small thing in comparison to the other ones previously. It just feels better. But they haven't just only reworked the loot. They also basically reworked the content pieces which would get you the loot. I think one of the biggest ones are Hell Tides. So Hell Tides are now available in the game no matter which world level you were in. And they are also available 24/7. Well, not quite. Every time a Hell Tide disappears, there is a 5-minute break in between, so you can actually empty your pockets and you can clear up your inventory and all that. And then the next Hell Tide is showing up. But they increased the density of monsters in the Hell Tide. They added a new boss you can just summon with 3 hearts. And that boss is quite tricky, has a pretty cool mechanics, and can do quite a bit of damage. Especially when you don't have the full equipment yet. And more importantly, it has thresholds where it basically protects itself from getting killed, right? So it becomes immune for a few seconds and does a few things. So even if you have a lot of damage, there are still moments where you have to think about what the boss is doing next and make sure that you're not getting murdered, right? But you were getting tons of items out of it. You were getting tons of shards out of it. It's such a good way, and also you're getting tons of XP out of it. Leveling. Let's talk about leveling. I hate leveling because most of the time, leveling in video games has one purpose, and that is delaying the inevitable, which is you are reaching the end game and realizing there's not a lot of content there, right? It's a way to slow the progress and to make the players play the game longer. And a lot of developers have been doing this. They have admitted to that, especially when the publisher was like, oh, well, you are an MMO, you are a live service game. Please make sure that people take at least a month or 2 before they're getting to the end game because, well, A, you don't really have a lot of end game, and B, it looks nicer for the numbers we give to our shareholders. And we have now finally reached a point in Diablo 4 where leveling actually feels good. It feels good. It's fast. I have now played the game for, oh gosh, I would say 8 hours, about 8 hours. And I'm now level 57. Yeah, I'm now level 57 at this point of the recording. And I haven't done anything special. I haven't done any cheesy tactics or guides or anything like that. I was just running Hell Tides, and it turns out you are making an insane amount of XP. It's great. It's absolutely great. The one thing I have to point out, which I definitely realized, is things became more trivial. Like the power spike you now have is pretty big, and the moment you reach tier 3 and you're getting your first tier 3 items or world 3 items, you become a god and nothing matters anymore. And I saw that when we did some of the world bosses over the last few days. Like a world boss normally survives for a minute at best. Like it dies so quickly. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. The nightmare dungeons are pretty trivial now, and I'm okay with this. Like, I take this over the state Diablo 4 was in before this. But as I said, it feels a little bit more trivial. But all in all, Season 4, even though it's not technically what Blizzard has been describing to us a season is, it's not that, it does all the right things. I take this over any new mini content we have normally gotten, like with Season 3. I take all of those changes, all of those additions, over what we got in Season 3 and Season 1, because when you remember back to Season 2 was also mostly a balanced season with some content on top of it and it was considered to be the best season so far. And yeah, just saying, season 4 shows this is what Blizzard has to do. Blizzard has to fix and change the core mechanics in the game, and it seems like they are on the right path now. And I hope we will see more of this in the next coming seasons. Hashtag character development and talent trees. With that said, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to leave a like and also subscribe to the channel if you want to see more ARPGs, RPGs, and survival games here. That's what we are focusing on. And we're also doing some live streams now and then. Again, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.